Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch King. Welcome to a new collection review, so to speak. Today I'm going to talk about the pocket watches and clocks and other weird things that I collect, which aren't only wristwatches. You saw maybe my collection video, which I did last year, and be sure I'll make a new one at the end of this year to give you a bit of an update of what stayed in the collection, what changed, and also what are new watches that came into it. Today we're going to go through a few lucky finds, watches and clocks I like to collect, which aren't only for the wrist. These things that I buy are not really something I wear daily, but it's just something I find joy in, and I like to collect it because it has mechanics in it. My goal with collecting pocket watches and other types of clocks is to have one from each complication. So this is one you saw already in my first collection video review. This is my quarter repeater watch. On the dial it says Gali Zurich, but since they're not a watch manufacturer, they're actually still a today operating retail store in Zurich. I don't think they made the movement. It's a fully gold pocket watch, and when I open up the back, still, if you saw the last video, it's just beautiful. It features Geneva stripes decoration, nice on glass, and you can see the gong and the hammers here. And when I play it, I think the sound still, until today, is one of the most beautiful ones I heard. Let me chime it once for you guys. As you know, at minute repeaters or quarter repeaters, you want to do a bit of a longer period of chiming. So let's now put the watch to 12:46. So we'll hear 12 gongs and then each 15 minutes, so 3 times. Beautiful sound. This is definitely something I'm gonna keep for a long time. So the next thing I want to show you is basically in the same realm as this one, is this pocket watch, which I recently purchased. It's actually an unsigned dial, which means there's like no particular brand behind it. It has a beautiful Art Deco numerals, and at 12 o'clock we have a sub-dial for the alarm function. So this is a alarm pocket watch. So we have a second sub-dial here at 6 o'clock, and once I turn the pocket watch around, you see there's a bit of oxidation here because this isn't a gold case, it's actually gold plated. It has a little step here. So you see, this is an alarm clock. So basically you can put it on the table like this, pretty cool. And once you want to see the movement, you just basically open this one up and voila, gorgeous. You also see the gongs here on the side of the movement and the hammer. In this case, only one. The movement is made by Angelus as far as I did my research, and I think it just looks beautiful. For that time that they made this, it's just gorgeous. And let's now set the alarm so you can hear how it chimes. You can actually set the alarm pretty precisely. So you have to push this button here if you want to change the time, and then you turn the crown. This is how they used to do it if a watch had a few complications. Here you go. And now the alarm is set to 3 o'clock. Let's now turn it to 3 o'clock, and then you'll hear the chiming. It's a pretty loud chime, and imagine having this on the side of your night table and just waking up to this in complete silence. I think it would definitely wake you up. You have nice on glass on the movement, and just overall I bought this pocket watch because of the movement. I also like the dial, but the movement here really was the thing that sold it to me. I like to hunt online and check the pre-owned pages here in Switzerland to see if I can buy something special. I also always wanted to have a Minerva rattrapant chronograph. So this is not a normal chronograph, but it's a double chronograph, hence rattrapant. And we have a second button here, which then splits the seconds. So split second chronograph. So you started by pushing this one in. Then you see both hands starting at the same time. One is blue, one is red. And then when you want to split it, just press this one here. And voila, here you go. Split second chronograph like you used to, but for a fraction of the cost of a wristwatch. This also has a nice movement, No special decoration, but let me show you how it looks. If you want to stop the rattrapante, you just basically stop the time, you push it back, and then you reset it. So we have the minute sub-dial here and the seconds around the whole periphery of the dial. Let me show you the movement now. We have two lids which protect the movement, and this one has the Minerva seal and also perlage decoration. Under this one, we've got a nice view of the movement. A very simple looking pocket watch movement with a typical configuration. So you see now the balance wheel isn't moving, and also this middle wheel isn't. But once I start the chronograph, you'll see how it starts rotating. Now the middle wheel is turning and the balance wheel. And once I stop it, it'll stop. Voila. Now we did a reset and now it's back to 0. The next one, which I'm really proud of buying, and also it's something I don't see very often, actually it's the first time I saw something like this in this condition, is this old Jump Hour pocket watch. It's very rare that you find a nicely brushed font like this with no decoration and also not so many scratches. The dial is anonymous, it doesn't say which brand it is. It's not a thick watch, it's actually a very thin pocket watch. And on the back it's also vertically brushed and no inscriptions. You've got the hours here, the minutes here, and the seconds running here. When I turn the crown, you'll see how it moves. Actually, the hour jumps once the minutes reach 60. Here you go. So it still has a nice jump. Unfortunately, with the watch closed like this, the movement doesn't work, so I gotta get it repaired. But if I open up the front and the back lid, it's gonna start working, which I'm gonna also show you, just so you can see the mechanics behind this. Voila, the movement is slightly oxidized. It has some stripes across all the bridges, not really Côte de Genève, or maybe it is, I'm not really sure here. It would need some cleaning, and I think repairing this would cost around 1,000 Swiss francs, which isn't cheap for what I paid for this. But maybe in the future I'll put some money into this and get it repaired. When I turn it now around, I also open up the front side, so you see behind the face of it. Voila, we have 3 discs, a pretty simple looking movement. We have the hour disc, the minute disc, and the seconds disc. Now you see it's running because there's nothing obstructing it. Overall, a pretty cool pocket watch, and again, I've never seen it in this condition and this clean. And very thin from the side, like a little coin. The next watches I bought were these little necklaces actually. So I have 2 of them. One I bought after the other actually, because I was lucky enough to buy them too at an auction. They're different sizes, but more or less they show the same time. They have nice movements actually inside, and they have different decorations on the case. These are actually necklaces. The golden one is from a brand called Lord, and the other one is Pierpont. They have engraved indexes, which is really neat. Again, and featuring small movements inside. The decoration around the case is pretty cool and unique. And actually those you have to hang around your neck. So it's basically like a necklace. This one is slightly long, but if I show the other one, it's a bit more wearable. Again, I did wear this once and people were like, what the hell are you wearing? Here you go, see, this is how it would look. Now I look really fancy. Put in some pocket watches and I'm the man. But again, the movements behind these little clocks is also something I really like. So let me show you guys how these look. So opening it up, it feels like you're opening up a Kinder egg. You've got a very small movement inside. This one unfortunately isn't working, but for 40 bucks I had to have this. And it's gonna be a nice gift in the future for some lucky lady. Again, it's cool to buy these things because at the end of the day, these are mechanically made watches, and you can really see how much imagination they had in the past. The other one has a similar movement. It's slightly bigger and it's actually in working condition. So you can open it up from the sides, and it has actually 3 parts. So the front part protects the dial and has a glass in it. You see there's a tiny dial on this thing, which is super cute. And then we put this away, we take it out again, a same empty shell like on the other one, with a nice flower on top and a cool decoration on the case. And here you can see the movement on the back of this. Like I said, this one is actually working. So if we now wind it, you'll see it. Here you go. Not the most beautiful movement, but again, for I think I paid $50 for this, it's pretty cool. Something I bought for my office desk is this beautiful table clock. It's a world timer by Luxor, and actually it has a 8-day power reserve movement, which is really cool, and something which was not that uncommon at the time. It's in nice condition. Usually the bezel is scratched, which in this case isn't so. It has a nice dial with vertical brushing and luminous hands, which I don't think have any lume in it anymore. I don't know if the dial was reprinted or if all the indexes were correct, but I don't really care. Again, I bought this for my desk and I really enjoy having it. On the back, you can see where the movement is housed. It's in this little compartment here, so everything else is just for the other stuff. And if you open up this window, you can actually adjust the balance wheel if it's running too quick or too slow, and then just close it back. With this one, you can wind the clock. It's now fully wound because I use it every day. And with this one, you can set the time. You can go backwards and forward. Really cool. Again, I like having this. I didn't pay too much, and it makes my desk look much more antique. Something I also stumbled upon when I was traveling in Hong Kong was this bird cage. So I always was looking at something, unique in Hong Kong or when I travel. So when I found this, I needed to have it. I paid around 200 Swiss francs for this, if I remember it correctly. So it has two birds in it. The upper one is basically the second's hand. You see it turns around at each second. And the lower one is just for the decoration, I would say. It's connected to the movement, so that when the balance wheel is slowly turning, this bird is as well, plus the upper one for the seconds. This reminded me of automaton clocks and from the old days, which I always admired, but they were really expensive. One day I would definitely love to have something more complicated from Rouge or Lepe, but for now this will do. You can wind it on the bottom. There is a signature here from when this was made, but between us, I don't think this is correct. You can set the time with this one. The time is actually displayed with one hand in the middle. It's not the most accurate clock, but again, I don't really care. When you buy a pocket watch or a clock, it doesn't always have to be a collectible or it doesn't have to rise in value. You just have to enjoy it as well sometimes. With this cage, you can either put it on a table like this, or you can hang it up and have it hanging from the ceiling. Pretty cool, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this cool or just antique junk? So the last thing I bought recently is actually this thing here. I've never seen this before, and when I bought it, I actually thought it was much bigger. It's a little desk clock which has 3 dials. So one shows the temperature in the room, so it's basically a thermometer. The other one shows the humidity in the air, if it's dry, normal, or humid. And the third one shows the time, and it actually has a date indication here as well. You wind it very easily with turning this crown. It actually works. I'm still in the testing phase, but so far so good. Manipulating the crown like this with the pressure downwards is a bit scary, so I don't know how long this will last. But for now it's cool. And again, it's on this turning table, so basically when you have it on the floor, you can just turn it around. That's really cool. Again, something I haven't seen often, so I had to have it, and I didn't pay a lot for it, so I just couldn't pass it up. What I also bought is something that I have on my wrist. It's now a wristwatch, but it started its journey as a pocket watch. I'm not the biggest fan of like mariage pocket watches, which are then converted into a wristwatch, but this one I like because it's more on the smaller side. Usually they have big movements and big cases, where this one doesn't. It has a very simple dial, which I also like, so it has no name on it. Blued hands, which you can definitely see. And once I open the movement, that's also something that convinced me to buy it. And again, I think I paid around 100 Swiss francs for this, so not really a big deal. The movement is something I really liked on this watch. I like the architecture of it, I like the look. It's a rough movement, slightly damaged, but we can see it has a nice feel, a nice patina to it. Again, not the most valuable watch in my collection, but definitely something I'm really happy wearing from time to time. Also because the balance wheel beats really loud, and it reminds me that I have a clock on my wrist. Also, the back case is perlage decorated, and we have a company name on here which says Louis Griesel. Louis Griesel, apparently, from what I found out, he founded the watch company Louis Griesel around 1887 and became known for its good quality watches, which he then exported to Russia, which ended up unfortunately in 1917 with the revolution. That's all I can find on this watch. Again, I buy these things here just because I visually like them, not something that's gonna rise in value. What do you think about my little collection of quirky mechanical things? Do you like it? What is your favorite? Do you have something that nobody else has or nobody else would consider buying? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, looking forward to do a collection review, which you will see by the end of the year, so definitely something to subscribe to the channel for, and also like and share it. I'm always looking to buy new mechanical creations online, so let's see what the next ones are gonna be. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.